You know what, Sam?
What?
We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs.
Yes, we are. I believe we're, 17, 16 games away, somewhere in that area. I know my number's probably not exact, but we're close.
We're getting closer and closer, Sam. Closer and closer.
Yes, we definitely are. It's going to be exciting.
Weeks away at this point.
It is weeks away. We all know Carolina is almost a guaranteed lock for the playoffs, so it's going to be nice
Guaranteed
to see playoff
lock,
hockey.
almost guaranteed second in the Metro.
Yes, definitely. But a few things we want to talk about. Again, we like to get you guys into seats with these Hurricane games, and even though you can use it for pretty much anything, Sam, we have a great partnership with who?
We have a great partnership with SeatGeek. If you use promo code Caniac Report, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. And not only do we have SeatGeek, Sam, we just finished a giveaway. So sometimes if we can't get you in for free, we'll at least try and get you a discount with SeatGeek.
Yes, and we actually have one more giveaway, and that's going to be for the Nashville game. And that's it for the season. It's just the Nashville game. We still have some time. Do you want to wait till the next episode for instructions on that?
Well, for the next episode for instructions on that.
Okay.
Start off next week. Give you guys about a week to get it done. But before we move on, Sam, I would love to just kind of go through the favorite trade deadline acquisition thing real quick, because we said we were going to talk about that from everybody who sent. You mind if I read some of those off? Because I thought it was interesting. From a frequent listener, he always enters. He's won a couple. I think he's won at least once for our giveaways as well. Brian Hauser didn't win this time, but he sent my favorite trade deadline was this year because we dumped a star that sandbagged us, that being Mikko Rantanen. We got Stankoven, who was a star in the making, and Jankowski, and the other trade was excellent as well. And yeah, it was an interesting trade deadline. It wasn't boring for Carolina, that's for sure.
No,
we got one from Craven Moorhead, which is a funny name because he's trying to get people to say that name in a funny way, but I don't know his real name, so I got to say the thing. I don't know, does he have at Moorhead now, please? Again, which is hysterical. If you know what I'm talking about, it's funny. I don't know if Sam's catching the jokes or not, but
no, I'm not. No,
that's fine. It's hysterical, and I love it. Completely different team. He said favorite deadline move a little before the deadline, actually, but Dougie Waite, a powerful physical sniper shot, playing shutdown defense, and a will and drive to make the Canes better, a huge part of the playoff run, and so glad he got to lift the cup with the Canes. Love the pod. Yeah, Doug Waite, very well-known trade deadline acquisition when we won the Stanley Cup. The next one we got from the Ginger Caniac, my favorite trade deadline acquisition was Brady Shea. It's not because it's because he had a lot of term left on his contract. And yeah, that was a great deal. It worked really out well for Carolina. And
yes, it did.
And those are all the ones that I had on X. Sam, I don't know if you had them on.
I had a couple on Instagram.
Yeah, if you want those, go for it.
Yeah, so Luke Garrett Whaley, he said Kevin Weeks, March 5th, 2002. I'll never forget being at a game and one of those fans yelled, "Weeksy, you're a wall, baby. LOL." That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yep.
And then came the person who won the giveaway in Tristan Simmons, and he said the Carolina Hurricanes trading for Evgeny Kuznetsov was by far my favorite trade deadline move since I've been watching the team, which has been since 2018. Kuznetsov is an incredibly dynamic player with elite playmaking ability, capable of turning the tide of a game with his vision and creativity. His skill set brings a new level of excitement to the Canes offense, offering a top-tier playmaker to the complement the existing talent. Not only does he bring a wealth of experience with a Stanley Cup to his name, but his ability to control the pace of play and generate scoring chances is exactly what the Hurricanes needed. It was Also sad to see him leave for the KHL. Fly high, Birdman.
Yeah, I agree. I was disappointed when he left too.
Yeah. Well, again, Tristan Simmons, he's the one that won the giveaway. And I am very happy he went to a game where the Hurricanes won.
Yes.
They won 4-1 against Tampa. What a great game that was. We are going to recap that game, obviously. But Sam, how about I read one more thing? And because he left an actual review on Apple. When we go, he gave us a 5 stars rating on Apple. So he said, as a diehard Hurricanes fan, the Caniac Report is an absolute must listen. Sam Wallace and Sam Driscoll bring incredible energy and insight to every episode. Whether it's a game recap, player analysis, or just a fun discussion about the team, these guys deliver top-notch content every time. Their passion for the Canes is infectious, and it's clear they know their stuff. If you're a Caniac, this podcast is a no-brainer. And in the subject, it said light it red. Tristan, thank you really so much for the kind words there. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Always appreciate the kind words.
Yes. And remember, if you're watching us, hit like and subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you're also listening to us, if you can leave a rating and review like what Tristan did, again, it really does help. And also, we have a link for donations. So if you want to donate, there is a link on both YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. So, Sam, let's talk about some things that happened in the NHL recently. One of the things that happened is Aaron Ekblad from the Florida Panthers. He was suspended for violating the NHL and the NHLPA Enhances Substance Program. He took something that was not medically approved, so that was why he got suspended, Sam.
Yeah, it sounded like it may have not even been something that was on purpose, according to his statement, but like, again, it was on purpose. But it's going to hurt Florida. It's not a good thing. He will be back, I think, for the playoffs, I think.
He's going to miss a couple of playoff games, but
so
not like a whole series.
He's going to miss some playoff games again, but that's the difference. That can be the difference of a series.
It could.
Right? If their defense is down Aaron Ekblad, that's not an easy player to replace. So we'll see just what happens there with Florida. But again, they're a cup contender. There's no question. I think even without Aaron Ekblad, they're a cup contender. But that's still a big hole in their blue line, so we'll just have to wait and see what they look like down the stretch.
Yeah, and they still have good defense. Like, I think Gustav Forsling, he's a very good defenseman as well. Who do you think is your favorite? Is it Ekblad or because it seems like there are two defensemen in Florida that really showcase the defensive corps that they have, and it's Forsling and Ekblad. Who do you think is your favorite?
Forsling.
Okay.
He's a little younger.
He is. He plays that Slavin type of style.
Yep.
Ekblad is a little bit more offensive, but he's still a great player. I'd probably say Forsling as well, but Ekblad, great player. And we'll see how Florida does without him for that amount of time. Another thing, too, Sam, this was a milestone, very, very big milestone. Doesn't really surprise me because of how good this player is. But Nathan MacKinnon, Sam, he hit 1,000 points this week in his NHL career. Man, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, Nathan MacKinnon is one of the greatest players in the league right now, and Colorado's certainly lucky to have him. And 1,000 points, congrats to MacKinnon. And you're going to have a great line mate in Marty Necas for years to come in Colorado.
Yes, Colorado. Sam, they're a team that I actually like. I think part of it might be because of the whole Rantanen thing, but also too, I have a soft spot for Necas. Like, I have his jersey. So
yeah, I like Necas. I've also always been a fan of Cale Makar. I think he's a great defenseman.
I think he's the best defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah, he is. He is the best overall defenseman in the National Hockey League because he's great on the back. He's great defensively, and he's elite offensively. So one of the best. That's why he's going to get paid.
Oh yeah, and that's part of the reason why they traded Rantanen, because they know his contract's going to be up soon, and Colorado's like, well, we're going to need some depth with these big star players that we had. So that was a choice that Colorado made there.
Well, they looked at Toronto and they were like, we can't afford and we shouldn't do it. Like that formula of the core four doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
And it hasn't. And it hasn't yet for Toronto. So, I mean, maybe it does this year. This is the last year guaranteed to have the core four. So we'll just have to wait and see if that works for Toronto.
Because they have two players on expiring contracts with Marner and John Tavares. So I can't expect them to bring both players back. Might bring one, but I can't expect them to bring both players back.
Yep.
And another thing, too, I just wanted to mention this briefly. Don't really want to talk about it a ton, but this upcoming draft, for those that don't know, is expected to be slightly below average in terms of these players having NHL potential. So that's why I read from The Athletic. So not really good quality, but it could. You never know. There have been other drafts. I remember, I think it was the 2017 class that was projected not to be good, and that was the draft of Nico Hischier, Sam. I know Nolan Patrick, he was a bit of a bust, but he had Martin Necas drafted. He had Gabriel Velarde. He's playing amazing in Winnipeg. So there are a few good players. Heskinainen was a part of that draft too. So you just never know sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yep. And that's pretty much it for NHL stuff, Sam. And now we're going to get to probably the thing that has been talked about the most with Carolina. The comments that Brind Amour said.
Yep.
And I know I said the last episode that
I don't even want to talk about it a whole lot now. I think we should just read the comment, let it stand for itself. Because we've gone on and on about Mikko Rantanen.
We have.
And I don't want to give him any more oxygen than he's gotten. Because at this point, it's just... I mean, I don't know what else to say, even with Rod's comments. So read Rod's comments, Sam, because I'm sure you got it up.
I actually do not have it up. I should have brought it up. But I'm going to paraphrase to the best of my ability here. But he's basically said Rantanen came in, gave him a list of 4 teams, and we weren't one of them. I know that's probably not the exact words, but again, I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
So
that's basically what he said.
Yeah, it was. And it was a little bit, and I thought when I heard that on Adam Gold's podcast, I was a little bit floored from hearing that. And then 2 things, Sam. 2 things came out of that. You have the media side, then you have what Rantanen said. I'm just going to hit on the Rantanen thing first because I agree with you, Sam. I don't want to talk anymore about Rantanen. It really is tiring. It's just more news has came out. Well, Rantanen said he's like, well, that list of teams, false. And also, I gave to the best of my ability in Carolina. And to me, it was that second statement that defined him more than that first statement, because if you're a Hurricanes fan watching those 13 games he played, I don't know how you can see he gave to the best of his ability when he only got 2 goals in 13 games. Wouldn't you agree, Sam?
Yeah, no, he didn't give his best. We know he's an all-star. He didn't even play like he's a superstar. He didn't even play like an all-star.
Yeah, he really didn't. Jankowski played 1 game for us when we acquired him. 2 goals that game.
Yep.
So it's just, the more I read about Rantanen, the more I just get mad.
That's why I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I don't either, but I mean, considering that Rantanen attacked Brind Amour there, I'm not that happy about it, but we're gonna get to the media side, and this is what I kind of want to focus on, Sam, because the media has portrayed this to be superstars do not want to sign here in Carolina, and my whole thing on this is like, if you're a reporter and you're reporting on this, part of your job is to actually, as what Tripp would say, dig in to the facts and see what actually is happening. Because on the surface it might look like it, but I think if you dig deeper, Brenda Moore actually said in one of his comments on Adam Gold show or podcast, that when it came to get the whole Gensel thing, he wanted to stay here. It was just a matter of the money. So
yeah,
I don't want to hear it.
He threw management a little under the bus on that Gensel thing too, which is kind of funny.
I understand why he did that because, I mean, listen, I like the risk with Rantanen and all that type of stuff, but all this Rantanen thing can be traced back to the whole Gensel thing, because if we had signed Gensel, Rantanen would never be on this team and we would never have this problem.
And Gensel made a lot of sense. But Carolina didn't want to fork over the money, and that is the direction they chose to go. I don't like hearing the excuse, oh, they didn't have the cap this offseason. Yeah, you did.
They did have the cap to sign him.
More than enough cap to sign him.
But we knew there was going to be go ahead.
Well, I'll also say, like the perception of it wasn't good. People, including myself, booed him in game 1 of the season that we played, and Carolina played Tampa at home. He got booed. I'll tell you right now, he did not get booed at all at the game we just played against Tampa.
Because we have a new public enemy.
Yeah. Eric Hall is still there. He's still always going to be a big public enemy. But Mikko Rantanen has really taken the clear number 1 position now.
Yeah. And we already talked about the Rantanen thing. Again, we're not going to talk about that. But, I mean, the whole Superstar thing, like, I knew it was going to happen just because, Gensel walk, you got Rantanen walk. It's not surprising. But when Brenda Moore said that Gensel wanted to be here, like, come on, media. Look at the facts. Gensel wanted to be here. It's not like he didn't want to be here. I would be a lot more concerned about this team, Sam, if both Gensel and Rantanen did not want to stay here. And honestly, I think that would not bode well for Brenda Moore. And I'd probably be like, okay, there's some questions about Brenda Moore if both of those players wanted to leave.
Yeah,
but
and
they didn't.
And we'll see what happens this offseason, right? Marner didn't want to waive to come here because I guess it was a deal that sounded like it would happen if he had waived it. Carolina would have sent Rantanen to Toronto and had gotten Mitch Marner in return. And again, he didn't waive it. I don't think that's a signal of anything. I think that's he probably wouldn't waive it at all. Not that he didn't want to come to Carolina. I think he's not wanting to have these discussions this season. And he has that ability to do that. He didn't want to leave right now. And his wife, from what I've seen, is pregnant. And I mean, you had a lot of factors there. And I'm not holding that against him not to waive it to come to Carolina. He didn't want to. I don't think he wanted to move and uproot now. In this point of the season, I think he wanted to wait. So I'm not taking that as we will never get Marner. I'm viewing that as he didn't want to get moved then.
Yeah, I am too, because the comments after he made about Carolina was also kind of directed toward Toronto, being like, I'm not talking about my contract with either Carolina or Toronto. That's how I got from the way his tone of voice was.
So you heard you heard something. What did Marner say then? I guess I must have missed him speaking on it.
Well, he basically he first said with the whole Carolina thing that he didn't want to go to Carolina because he's not moving his no trade clause. But he also was asked about his future in Toronto, and he was dismissive about that too. He was like, I'm not focusing on that right now. I'm focusing on how I play for the rest of the season. And I respect that from a player. Like he basically
said, I'm not waiving my trade. So it wasn't, so he said, I didn't want to not go to Carolina. I didn't want to waive my no trade clause. Was that what he said? He's like, I wasn't going to waive the no trade clause.
Yes.
And he has every right to do that.
He does.
That's why you get those in your contracts, so you don't have to. And Marner is a heck of a player. We saw he was great in the Four Nations face-off. He's been one of Toronto's top talents. It's a question of, does Toronto continue to go back? And they can afford to extend him, by the way, if they really want to. But the question is does Toronto want to go back to the core four and not have a lot of money to do everything else? Or do they want to try and let him go? Or maybe they let Tavares go? But I agree. I just cannot imagine it being a wise idea to bring back Marner and bring back Tavares. And I also think depending on how well they play in the playoffs, if they get knocked out in the first round, does he want a fresh start somewhere else and try and, do a little bit better? So, I mean, we don't know. It's a matter of we'll see what Marner does. I think he's a genuine target here. Carolina can offer him a lot of money and still have a lot of money to go somewhere else. So if he wants to go to free agency and see what money he can get, Carolina's in a good position to make a really good run at Marner, and I think have a really good shot at signing him and Sam Bennett if they want to.
Yep. And I think the news of us targeting Mitch Marner proves that this team does want that star player. And honestly, you look at this team. Listen, I love this team to death, but I still don't think this team is anywhere near a cup contender, just looking at it on paper right now. But you can do damage with the amount of cap they have this offseason. And if he does become free agency, I guarantee you Canes are going to be in the discussion at least. I'm not saying they're going to get him. They're going to be in the discussion, though.
It won't be because of money.
No, I don't think so either. But that's my whole thing with this whole.
I think. Well, I'll tell you this. I think what you see. I think what you see with Rantanen, with Gensel, with Marner, it's Carolina sees the clear hole in the roster, which is a superstar, right?
Which is good though that they see that problem, because I think everybody, every Canes fan, I think, sees that.
And who's to say that Nikishin's not going to be that superstar, right? I mean, it can be a blue liner. It doesn't have to be a forward. Nikishin could come in and literally be Cale Makar. That's, I think, his ceiling is Cale Makar from everything I've read. And if he turns into Cale Makar, well, I mean, that's pretty darn good. That's a defenseman who's going to get you well over a point per game every season. So, yeah, a Cale Makar-like defenseman in Nikishin, maybe that's it there. I feel like Carolina wants not just an all-star defenseman, which they're going to get Nikishin. I think they want that all-star forward, that superstar forward, sorry. And, I mean, they're taking runs. And I have every belief that if Marner's going to free agency, Carolina's in on that. If not the favorite to land him because of the cap situation, and guaranteed to be not only a contender, but to be the guy in Carolina, because that's what he's going to be. He's going to be the best player on this roster. Sam Bennett would be the de facto number 2 center. I mean, we're appealing for a lot of players. And for Sam Bennett, it wouldn't be abnormal to go from one small market to another. So I'm more optimistic on if Bennett hits the market that we sign him.
Well, I hope so, because this team does need that Bennett Marner type of talent. Sam, another thing too, a couple of injuries that the Hurricanes are having. One with Orlov, and I mean, I'm liking Morrow, so
yeah, Orlov can stay out.
I think Orlov can stay out, but the other injury, too, that I'm more concerned about, Sam, is obviously with Svechnikov. So we hope he comes back soon.
There was something released about them today.
Yes. So I read that article on the Hurricanes website. He's doubtful for Friday, but we are playing back-to-back, Friday and Saturday. So maybe he plays Saturday. I don't know. Sam, worst comes to worst, after these back-to-back games, they're on a 4-day break, which the Hurricanes might need because of the couple of injuries.
So, and for that reason alone, I don't want to see Orlov play. Orlov has already been a detriment to the roster. Healthy, I sure as heck don't want him playing when he's not healthy. So it's like, oh, we cannot do that. And plus, I think Morrow's been better. He's been better. Morrow's been the better of the two players, and I would rather see Morrow play right now. I think it's good for his development to get some time playing. He's getting to play with Slade. He's getting to play with everybody, really, and I love that for the player. So I want to keep seeing Morrow get some time. For Svech, it sounds like that might be longer term than than initially thought.
Might
From
be.
what I'm reading. But again, you get 4 days of no games. I think that's great. 4 or 5. I think you're right. It is 4 of no games, and I think that's going to be good for the roster. And Carolina's basically hitting their California road trip, and that's what's happening next. So I'm really hopeful that before you hit those last, I think it's the last 2 games of that trip. When it's like that first game and then the last 2 games, because Carolina has a back-to-back Friday, Saturday. So after that Friday game, I think they're heading out California.
Yes,
So,
they are.
You head out California. I think you play the Ducks. I think that's who's
LA.
next. That's LA. So LA, and then I'm guessing Anaheim, San Jose, or it's San Jose, then Anaheim. Either way, you're going up and you're playing them. So let's see what happens. You win the home game. Again, I think you got to beat Detroit. If you lose that second half of the back-to-back, I will not hold that against that team because
you're on a 5-game winning streak.
You're literally, you're on a 5-game winning streak. I want to beat Detroit because that's your last home game for a road trip that's going to span over a week.
Sorry, my bad. It's San Jose that Thursday night, and then Saturday is against LA, and then Sunday Anaheim. My bad.
Okay. So I just want to see what happens on this road trip. I want to win at home, and then if you lose one of these California games, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I do too. Well, Sam, let's get to one of our sponsors, and then we're going to recap the one and only game, the win, impressive win against Tampa. This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going. That just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out, and games left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Bill Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. NHL and NHL team marks are the property of the NHL and its teams. NHL 2025, all rights reserved. It was a great game, Sam. Funny enough, with Svetch being out, the Lions were released before this game, and I'm telling you, the Lions, to me, I thought looked a little bit rough. And the biggest thing, Sam, is that Jarvis was on the line with Stahl and Martinook, and I was not happy about that because I'm like, you basically limited yourself to only one scoring line. That's it. That's literally it. So I was really not happy about that. And I
bet your dad was even less thrilled than you were.
Oh, dude, he called me before I even learned about the Lions. And yeah, he gave me he vented to me, let's just say that, about that.
That's why we got to get your dad back on the podcast, Sam. Got to get your dad back on the podcast.
Well, part of that venting, he was like, I need to come on the episode. So
Sam, you got to get him on.
Maybe. But I mean, don't you agree though, Sam? Like the second line was like Jose, KK, and Blake?
Yeah, that was a bizarre line.
I don't understand that. And I honestly don't know, to be honest. I'm not saying that Jose is a bad player, but I just think you need to bring up Bradley Nadeau. I think there's more offensive upside on Nadeau than there is with Jost.
Yep.
So, but eventually Sam Brindamore did put Jarvis up with Aho and Blake and Sam. That was a line that played really, really good. I loved that line.
Yeah, I loved it too. I thought it looked really, really good. And again, I think for you need it's Jarvis, Aho, Blake, right?
Yep.
And Blake just needs to get a little bit bigger and a little bit more time in the league. And I promise you that
he'll be a good player. I'd
he's
say a top 6 player.
He's going to be a top 6 player, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's a 30 to 40 goal scorer. Just with all the chances he gets and with more experience, he's going to start burying that, especially when he gets bigger.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, our right-handed players, if you look at our forwards, have incredible potential. Jarvis is already showing it.
Yep.
You have Blake, who I think will show it, and another player like Blake that we just acquired, and Stankoven. Like that's a young pair of right wingers. I'm hoping Stankoven could be a center, but that's a good young pair.
Absolutely, it's an excellent pair, and they're going to do really, really well.
Yes, and in the first period, Sam, I would say the key to Carolina's success right now is to strictly play 5-on-5, no power play,
and 5-on-5 or the penalty kill.
Yes, because the power play is so bad it is flatter than ice right now. But first period, Sam, Canes are on the penalty kill, and then to me, it was the beauty of the night. It really was. You had Jarvis scoring. An assist from Aho, but my gosh, what a shot that was.
What a shot, and Vasilevsky wants that one back.
Vasilevsky didn't have that good of a game.
No, he did not. He got out goaltendered tonight, which is rare that Vasilevsky is not the better goaltender. Even in losses, Vasilevsky is usually the better goalie.
And Kochetkov is putting an impressive string of games right now. He really is.
Both Vasilevsky and Anderson. I mean, last game I think Anderson irked me a little bit with those last 2 goals. It was like, my God. It's one of those things where it's like, thank God this happened now and not like in the second period.
Well, that was Kochetkov, I believe, against Winnipeg, wasn't it? Or maybe hold up here. I could be wrong.
No, it was the last game. It wasn't Winnipeg. It was whatever the last game was before this one was Anderson.
Yeah, it was. Okay. Yep, my bad. It was Anderson.
And that was like, yikes. But no, I think Kochetkov played. He was great. Unbelievable in that first period.
And I would say almost the entire game.
Yeah, and I think even that goal he gave up, I don't really blame him. I mean, he had Burns in front of him.
I blame Burns.
I don't even know what Burns was doing. Burns screened his own goalie, backed off the puck, and he didn't body him off. So it was like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
And it's the only reason why Jacob Slavin ended up as a -1 that night.
Yeah. I mean, Kochetkov basically, he was screened by both Burns and I can't remember the Tampa player that came into the crease. But obviously that was a good goal. But I mean, the Jarvis goal was excellent. And Sam, honestly, in the first period, I thought it was kind of an even game. I think you can argue Tampa was probably a little bit better than the Hurricanes in that first period.
I think Tampa had better chances in the first.
I would agree with that. I would. But second and third period, Sam, Carolina turned it up a notch. And they were playing really, really good hockey. You had Jordan Martinook scoring. And what's funny, Sam, before that sequence, I mean, it was a 2-on-1 with Stankoven and Stahl. Vasilevsky makes a super, super save. And then Martinook's like, hey, guys, let's try this. And he literally just hit it at Vasilevsky's pad, and it just went in.
Yeah, because it was right before that Vasilevsky had like the save of the game.
I know.
And then Martinook just like throws it on net, and it just squeaks through it. It's like, what in the world? I mean, it was literally like Matt and I were at that game together. We were just kind of looking at each other like, what is this at Vasilevsky? Like, what Vasilevsky is this right now?
Yeah, it was a strange game for Vast. It really was. I mean, he made some great saves, but also letting bad goals. And that was a very, very bad goal. But the next goal wasn't as bad, Sam, because there was another 2-on-1 opportunity for the Hurricanes off the rush. It was Taylor Hall and Jack Roslovic and Sam Taylor Hall. Perfect timely pass to Jack Roslovic, and Roslovic roof sets. Boy, that was a great play, and that was like the last seconds of the second period. And I thought, to me, that was the game after we scored the third goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this team has looked so good after Rantanen's gone, and it's all of the lines. And I thought Roslovic, now that he's 96 again, this looked really good.
Yeah, and he kept the Rolex too.
Yeah, he did. He should keep the Rolex.
Yeah. There's a nickname, I believe. Jack. I heard it, I think, on Adam Gold's podcast. Jack Rolex or something.
I don't know. I haven't seen that yet.
It was actually pretty funny. But back to the game, and I mean, it's 3-0 Hurricanes. And another thing, too, is this was during the first intermission, Sam, but Seth Jarvis was interviewed. And, I mean, you and I, we talked about this after the game. But Jarvis is like, we are a very well-knit family. Again, I'm paraphrasing here. And we don't care what you media people say about us. So I loved seeing that from Jarvis, man.
Yeah, I did, too. I love it, too.
It shows that he is committed to Carolina. In the third period, again, you had I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name of the Tampa Bay player.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't pronounce it either.
Goncalves? I very could be wrong. But they scores 3-1. Whatever. Sam, that does not stop Carolina from not scoring, as it is Sean Walker's scoring. I believe that's his first goal in quite some time.
It was like 40-something games, I think.
Yeah, it was. But great goal from Walker. I love it.
Yeah, it was a good goal. I think it's another one that Vasilevsky's probably going to win back.
Exactly.
But again, it just goes to Vasilevsky had a bad game. And again, but it was a screenshot, good goal from Walker, shooting the puck on a lane that he saw. So that's what you want. You want him to shoot the puck. I think Walker has more offensive insight than I think his numbers show. So I just want to see those continue to get better. Maybe see him get some more opportunities.
Well, the one thing that really needs to get better is the freaking power play. They had a 5-on-3, Sam.
Again, what I don't understand is why you keep putting Burns on the power play when he's proven to not be good at it, because he just hasn't been this season. So I would actually stick Morrow on there and just see what happens. Because why not put somebody younger on the power play? I mean, if you want Burns on it, fine, but then do Morrow and Burns.
Yeah,
so just give him a chance.
Yeah, but I think another thing too is the players around Burns haven't really been doing good either, because
but that's like something you can do though.
The puck.
But that's something you can do though, is just change up the look, and I think that would be an opportunity for Morrow, one, to get an opportunity on the power play, and for two, just a chance to take a look and see what a new power play units look like.
Hot take here, but I think it's more the strategy than it is the personnel.
It might be. It very well could be. I think
because there's an overload system to the power play. Remember that overload type of system?
Yeah.
That's what Brendan Moore has implemented. And to be honest, I probably have like a 1-3-1 type of system, or an umbrella type of system, because I read up on power play strategies because of how bad it was. Maybe that strategy needs to maybe go.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Why not try something different?
Exactly. But regardless, Sam, Hurricanes have won. They made it 5 wins in a row. Honestly, both the Tampa and Winnipeg game, boy, that impressed the heck out of me with Carolina. Really did. And it was just because of all the Rantanen drama that the Canes had, because I could easily see them take that Rantanen drama and just play a lot worse, but they haven't. And I would argue, like, if they ever did somehow win the Stanley Cup, I'm not saying they will, if they did, then it's going to be because of that rally point of, well, the media thinks that we're not good enough because of the superstar mentality that they have against us. Well, we're going to prove them. And I think that's what we're seeing from this team.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a possibility, and I want to keep seeing them play with a chip on their shoulder.
I do too. And I'm telling you, I think Seth Jarvis, you think he could hit 40 goals this season?
How many does he have now? 30?
26.
No, he's not going to get 40.
Okay, I'll say probably 35 to 40. I'll put a range on it.
Maybe the low end of that.
Low end, okay.
I'd be happy if he ended up the season with anything in the 30s.
I would too.
If he ends up with 40, I'd be shocked. But I mean, it's possible, but not if he plays on Stahl's line.
Yeah, I agree with that. But great win, and we will see you guys for the next episode, which will be Monday. So we will see you guys Monday.